It's that time of week, time to give some predictions. I know we're all going to go in the same direction here, but we're still going to give them anyway.
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back into Locked On Bama. Luke Robinson, that's me. Jimmy Stein, that's him. This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. Thank you so much for making us your first listen every day. We do appreciate you guys so much. Jimmy, we're going to do some predictions here for Alabama against the Chattanooga Mocs. And, you know, it's not short for moccasin, by the way.
It's not. I know. It's confusing.
It's weird. It's, in fact, I'm going to read something from the Chattanooga website. This taught me a little something, and it doesn't make any sense. It also lets me know they don't edit the stuff on their website very more.
Hey, before you even read it, does that have something to do with the Moccasin River?
No. Okay. Listen to this.
There is a Moccasin River in Chattanooga, I believe.
Well, at first, my first thought was, okay, I'm assuming that they're the moccasins. Because I thought of like moccasins, like the Native American shoe, right? That's what I thought. And I was like, well, it could be for a snake. And then they were like, no, that's not it at all. It says for more than a decade, this question, meaning what is a mock, has puzzled many fans and observers of Chattanooga athletics. Mocs is simply the nickname. It's not short for anything. It stands alone, except they wrote it stands along. So I'm assuming nobody edits this, but it says, what is a mock? And it says the UTC athletics department changed the logos in 97, moving away from Native American imagery. So I guess it was the moccasins for the shoes, to a package of logos using railroad images, the nickname Mocks, which means nothing, and the scrappy mascot. That's the name of the mascot, who was named after legendary football coach. Of course, we all know very well, A.C. Scrappy Moore. I have no idea.
The guy that was on the ABC show, Coach?
That would be something if they named him for him. That I could get behind that.
I was just trying to remember who Scrappy Moore was.
I'm going to let other people look that up. I'm so not interested in AC Scrappy Moore that I'm not even looking it up to tell you now. And I'm going to leave you hanging with your own curiosity, letting that be your guide if you want to look it up.
There's literally, I think, a Moccasin River or some sort of river that looks really full of moccasins, like right when you're pulling into southwest Chattanooga, where I enter that town. I go about once or twice a year, and it's really pretty. It's beautiful, but I thought Mocs had something to do with that river, to be honest.
It says it just stands alone. It means nothing. So, I mean, okay. I guess they're trying to say we don't want to offend Native Americans, snakes, rivers. There's nothing we want to offend. So this means this is a word we made up.
Can you imagine Jerry Seinfeld and George Costanza walking into the athletic director's office and pitching a mascot about nothing? We think our mascot should be about nothing.
It's
got to be about something. No, it's about nothing.
It's just a frozen glass of pure water. There's nothing. There's no flavoring at all. There's no nothing. Anyway.
How about Mocs? But isn't that a snake? Isn't that a shoe? No, it's nothing.
But now their record is 7-3. Here's the catch: their losses are at North Alabama at the beginning of the season, so they've already come into our state once and gotten trounced 41-27. They also lost to Western Carolina 52-50. And they lost last week.
Wasn't that the score we lost to Tennessee? What was it? What was that Tennessee game last year? 52-49?
I thought it was 50. It was either 52-49 or 51-48. I can't remember. It's one of those two.
Just flashback.
But they also lost 2 weeks ago to number 2 Furman, and number 2 meaning of the football championship, whatever you call them. They lost by 3. So they're playing a lot better. That being said, the FanDuel spread is 44.5. And you and I talked about this on the last show that, frankly, look, I don't think Alabama will cover because Alabama never covers these large spreads, it seems like. and it just seems that way. Maybe somebody's going to have some empirical data that's going to tell me, Luke, you're so wrong about this. And well, I'm going to tell you that's why I'm a very bad gambler. So, I mean, yeah, I'm right too in that way. But I think the final score will be something like 53 to 10 or something like that, which in fact, that's my official prediction.
53-10?
Yeah.
53-10, not covering.
Not covering.
I'll go covering and go 56-7.
Fair, I'll take it.
But here's the thing, covering all my bases like the lawyer I used to be, I'm not going to be surprised if this is a bit of a struggle game. Now, struggle game against UT Chattanooga does not mean 20-14, or I sincerely hope not. But struggle game to me might mean something like 34-14. And I wouldn't be shocked solely for this reason. Man, this game comes at a weird time. I mean, I know it's helpful. But the fans, I talk to fans. It's my job. I talk to you guys all day long, and I'm not blaming on y'all. I'm just as guilty. All we are talking about is rankings, Georgia, and to some extent Auburn. And I know that this game doesn't take A-plus focus for Alabama to win. I'm not going to play into Coach Saban's psychology games here. I know Alabama's going to win this game Saturday. But, man, when all you care about is 2 weeks away or a week away, or, hey, all I want to care about this week is healing up my bruised thigh and stuff like that, I won't be surprised. Coach Saban brought up in the press conference that I just watched, he brought it up that we played these guys in 2016, and halfway through the second quarter, it's 3-0 Chattanooga. And I don't remember the circumstances, Luke, but I bet they were really similar. I mean, I know that team was undefeated going into that game and had an SEC championship match with Florida, I think it was, already locked up. That was Jalen Hurts' freshman year. I think I really think that struggling would not shock me. But my official prediction is 56-7 because I lean towards believing that this particular group takes care of business.
Yeah, I'm gonna be there with you. And also, when you think about 2016 and the similarities to this year, I mean, we had what a lot of people believe to be a running quarterback who could throw the ball. But I think the difference is, frankly, as the year went on, I thought, now maybe I'm thinking of 17. I am thinking of 17. That as the year went on, Jalen Hurts' passing skills diminished a little bit that year, whereas I feel like Jalen Milroe was on an upward trajectory.
Yeah, true.
But I still think the point remains. And
Milroe almost has like more to prove at this point in the season than Hurts did in 2016 in that way, I think. And we're also, here's the thing, we could do a whole show on this. I've heard Nick Saban say this. This isn't just Jimmy talking off the top of my head. Nick Saban said well after 2016 was over, I'm talking about a few seasons after, and looking back on that year, he said we didn't do Jalen Hurts any favors in terms of developing him. And what he meant by that, I believe, is that we cobbled together an offense that Hurts could run as a true freshman, and there was a lot of one read and take off. And that was what he was comfortable with, and it's sort of what he did in high school. So Alabama did it as a way to make Jalen Hurts comfortable and as a way not to give the game away at the quarterback position by asking him to do too much. So we did the right thing for the team and for Alabama. But Nick Saban later lamented, how is that making Jalen Hurts a better player? How is that preparing him for an NFL career that he's capable of? We didn't, and that's what he meant by we didn't do him any favors. Jalen Milroe were handling differently. I tend to think it might be because of those lessons learned in 2016. Jalen Milroe's running a multi-read offense. He makes multiple reads in routes. He's got a route tree. Sometimes he this past weekend against Kentucky, while you were there, Luke, the first 2 touchdown passes were to second reads.
That's true.
I looked up a stat. This is amazing. I remember it because I was so blown away. 8% of touchdown passes in the NFL. 8% is your second read down the field. Only 8%. So it's something that us college fans, for whatever reason, someone put that talking point in our head of, hey, our quarterback's not not doing his job, if he's not progressing through reads and throwing to second and third. They don't even do that on Sundays as much as people would think, So it just goes to show how hard we are on quarterbacks, college fans, and that we expect too much out of these kids that are learning how to play football. And we're asking them to do things that even the Sunday guys struggle with and don't do a lot. Again, 8% of touchdown passes are thrown to a quarterback's second read in the NFL.
Very, very interesting. Something else that's very interesting that we're going to get into are our player predictions for this game and who's going to do what and some over-unders. And I'm going to talk about that. Excuse me. Got to clear my throat a little bit. Sorry. I hate that. I know y'all hate it, especially if you're just listening to audio. You're like, what is wrong with that, man? But I want to tell you now about LinkedIn. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and for free, and that's the crucial part, for free. Look, all you got to do is go check out LinkedIn Jobs and add your job in the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile and spread the word that you are hiring. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and who you'd like to ultimately hire. It's why small businesses rank LinkedIn Jobs number one in delivering quality hires versus their leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to and helps you find them faster and for free. Post your job free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions, they'll probably apply. Then I want to tell you about Athletic Brewing. Man, I love Athletic Brewing. Look, now it's time for the game changer of the week, and that's brought to you by Athletic Brewing Company. Much like, I don't know how you go with anybody besides Jalen Milroe, Athletic Brewing Company has completely changed the non-alcoholic beer game. They make non-alcoholic beers that actually taste good. Look, these things are absolutely delicious. They have all these kind of seasonal flavors that are so good. You want to try them out. Athletic Brewing Company has completely changed the non-alcoholic beer game. I'm telling you, their brews are great tasting and award-winning and beat out full-strength beers in global competitions. They're constantly releasing limited editions, experimental styles to their variety. They're fit for all times, so you can drink them anytime, anywhere, and make any activity even more enjoyable, like yard work, working out, watching a big game, whatever you want to do. You can enjoy this. You can find Athletic Brewing Company's non-alcoholic brews at a store near you or buy online at athleticbrewingcompany.com. First-time customers use code LOCKEDON, get a 15% discount off your first order. That's first-time customers use code LOCKEDON at athleticbrewing.com. All right, Jimmy, let's talk about what we think when it comes to some player props for this weekend. Look, the best prop I can give you on Jalen Milroe, over under number of quarters he plays in this game, 2.5. I'm going over.
Really? Okay. Yeah. Then I was leaning to under, although 2.5 is probably, like you said, such a great number. You're a good number setterer. And I'll go under. I'll go under, but 2.5 sounds exactly right to me.
Does anybody playing for Alabama go over 80 yards rushing? You cannot have these long pauses, Jimmy. I have to tell you this.
I take it.
Your long pauses,
I never want to be wrong.
Yeah,
That's the thing. I don't like being wrong, so I like to put thought into it. But no, the answer is
your long pauses
yes.
are my mutes. So you got to remember that. If you just have a long silent pause, what is the difference in that and my muting myself accidentally? Nothing.
And frankly, the worst part of it is me giving it more thought doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to be any more right. The odds of me being right doesn't matter whether I give a snap answer or think about it for 20 minutes. It's not going to matter.
In fact, I think it probably hurts you.
Yeah, there's a very good chance. That's a quick sports story. I remember being at South Alabama baseball camp. I was 14, I think, and we ended the day of camp with a scrimmage, and I was with the older kids. So I was playing second base, and that's where I played. I played second, and there's a runner on first with just one out, and they hit a ball to me at second, and I actually knew the kid batting, and he wasn't super fat. He wasn't super fast, but anyway, he hit a little dribbler out to me at second. So I got the ball, and I was pretty close to the bag, and I just fielded the ball and jogged over there and touched second base for the out. And then I thought I did exactly right. And the coach comes out, the head coach, Steve Kittrell, back in the day. Coach Kittrell comes out of the dugout and he yells out at me, Stein, yeah, why didn't you go for two? Why didn't you try to get a double? Why didn't you go for two? I said, I thought the ball was hit too slow. And he said, stop thinking. You're not giving your team a chance to win the game. So
I need you to cut your brain completely off, please.
I think that's what you're trying to say there. Stop thinking. You're never going to get it right if you think.
What's the answer? Just you've got on a
I say over 80, and it's how about this? Just because it's a fun prediction to make, and I'll go ahead and put a stamp on it. Justice Haynes over 80. Haynes.
That's interesting because I think he only has about 90 yards on the year.
There you go. I'll say 80 in his most extended playing time. Let's give him 80 on 7 carries.
Ooh, I would love that. I assume that means he breaks at least one good long one. That would be awesome.
Yeah, maybe a couple of 30 or 40 yarders, a couple of them.
How about total touchdowns for Jalen Milroe at 3.5?
Under.
I'm going to go over.
You're probably right. I mean, the dude's like a touchdown multiplier, like a couple of rabbits in a cage. You open the cage and now there's 20 of them in there. And that's Milroe's touchdowns.
10 touchdowns in the last 2 games is a lot of touchdowns.
It's ridiculous. And that's why, even though, it's the time of the year, right? But to see, I saw Milroe's name 7th on Heisman odds.
Yeah.
He's a Maxwell Award semifinalist, a Davey O'Brien semifinalist. If Milroe even finishes 10th in the Heisman voting, I'm not going to stop talking. Y'all get sick. I'm not going to stop talking about it the entire offseason.
Yeah, it's going to be huge.
Yeah, if he does. But it would take, by the way, I like Luke said, Milroe's performance means nothing as far as the Heisman, but it's so late in the year, he needs some stats. So yeah, I think him racking up some stats will be a little helpful. He needs to be really efficient. This is what I'm looking for Jalen on Saturday, Luke. It's not so much throwing 3 touchdown passes or running for 3 more. What I would like to see out of him is extreme efficiency in the pass game, something like Jalen Milroe, 12 of 13, 14 of 16, 15 of 17, something that's like extreme efficiency, no balls hitting the ground.
So let me ask this. Do you think there'll be a defensive or special teams touchdown by Alabama?
I'll go no, but man, I wish they would, in the sense that, I think we're I expected more from that group in terms of the knots this year, and there really haven't been many. So it would be nice, but I guess I'd rather them save it for Auburn or Georgia.
No, I'm with you on that. I'll tell you something interesting, going back to our podcast where we talked about the seniors coming back potentially. Malachi Moore weirdly was interviewed. I think he was by On 3, or maybe been 24/7. I can't remember. And he was like, "Yeah, it's going to be weird. I'm possibly taking the field for the last time." So he certainly is not ruling out coming back. And you and I both thought, "Good Lord, if Malachi Moore comes back, that is a huge piece of the puzzle for next year."
It would be massive, and I would be surprised. But I mean, hey, it's his quote, not mine. So maybe I should start getting myself less surprised. Yeah. NIL has changed this. I mean, the formula has changed, right? I mean, like I've said before, I said this in a meeting the other night, a speech I did. Say it here, it's so true. Kids there have been kids when the season is over, they sit in Nick Saban's office, and Nick Saban says, it's in your best interest to come back to school because you're not going to go day 1, and you're probably not going to go day 2. And the kid says, I would love to come back. Coming back is my preference. I wish I could, but I can't. And it had to do about taking care of family problems at home. And thanks to NIL, I don't know how often that speech happens anymore. Now these kids can be helped, at least to a degree they can help their families. So you should start seeing more kids return to school than in the past. And Malachi does have eligibility to return due to this COVID year.
Jimmy, when we come back, we're going to take a look around the country. Not a lot of great games, but there's some that are very important when it comes to Alabama. We're going to talk about that. But right now, I want to talk about PrizePicks. I love PrizePicks. It's an app. It's right on your phone. I'm going to pull it up on my phone right now, just to let you know how easy it is. Look, there it is right there. It's coming up. I'm also getting a text. Sorry about that. But yeah, there's PrizePicks right there. You can see it. Everything's real super easy. Just download it. What is PrizePicks? It's the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. That is a big, big deal. Look, PrizePicks is the most fun I've had, winning up to 25 times of my money this football season. And now I can play during basketball season too. You just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and place your entry. It couldn't be any easier than that. Look, this week on PrizePicks, I'm probably going to take something like Steph Curry for more than 28 points in one of his games, or Joker over in Denver for the Nuggets, maybe more than 10 rebounds because he's still killing it. He's MVP worthy still. But you can do things like Christian McCaffrey more than 75 yards rushing, or Patrick Mahomes more than X amount of touchdowns. You can do all these things on PrizePicks. You will love this. It tests your skills too, and it keeps you so engaged in the game. That's what I really love about it. It's so much fun. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnCollege. Use code LockedOnCollege for a first deposit match up to $100. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnCollege and use code LockedOnCollege for a first deposit match up to $100. All right, Jimmy, looking around the country here, again, not a great lineup. But that's okay. I mean, we all probably need a little week off before next week when it's rivalry Saturday, and it is also Thanksgiving. It's going to be rivalry within your family on Thursday. But one of the games, Georgia at Tennessee, this game had some sexiness about it several weeks ago. It has no sexiness now. Tennessee fans have really gone to Twitter to do nothing more than bug the heck out of SEC officiating. They are convinced that everybody in the world is against them, and that is the last refuge of a fan base that's hit rock bottom. And so that they're more concerned about, and Josh Heupel's not helping. Josh Heupel, with his little smarmy either takes or attitude or whatever in his press conferences is not helping. It feels like Tennessee's just not concentrating.
They lost to Missouri 90-7, and they're blaming it on the officials.
Yeah, they're just saying nobody's called a holding against the Tennessee opponent in the last 3 or 4 games.
We didn't get holding called on us during the entirety of Will Anderson's career.
That is so true. Well, I think we did go one full season where our opponents only had 1 holding call, if I remember right. I can't remember the year, but it was not long ago. And we
probably had two first-round pass rushers outside.
Yeah, just anyway. I think Georgia rumbles here. I really do. I think Georgia's just a much better team. And then there's a bunch of SEC games.
I got to backtrack on that because some people might remember. Since the summer, I've said Tennessee would win that game. I mean, since the summer, I said this summer Georgia will lose in Knoxville. I said it during this season, earlier this season, but I'm taking it back before it happens. I was wrong. I just did not see Tennessee season going like it is. I didn't think Tennessee would be 11-1 and contending for the playoff, but I thought Tennessee was going to be a really high quality top 15 type team, and they're just not playing like that now. I think Georgia wins this game easily, and I apologize to my Georgia friends, and there are a few, for saying all year Tennessee would win that game. I was wrong. Just goes to show how this is why professional gamblers don't pick games during the summer. They wait till the morning of kickoff. That's why.
And the rest of the SEC is sort of not much to watch, but there are 3 other games that I'm going to keep an eye on.
What's that?
That's going to be Oklahoma, BYU. And the reason I'm keeping an eye on is because Oklahoma could lose that game. I know they're going to be a big favorite, whatever. I think they're favored by 14 or something. But I think they could lose that game. Is that BYU?
Agreed.
Texas at Iowa State. I do believe Iowa State can win that game. I'm not predicting it. I'm just saying I think they can win it. And
I'm watching with interest. I'm watching with interest.
Then of course,
Matt Campbell's career can be electroshocked back to life in front of us.
And then Washington at Oregon State. Oregon State's actually a favorite there. And I think we really would like Oregon State to win that game. Oregon State can help us out because I think they play Washington and then I think they play Oregon next week. I believe that's correct.
That's right.
So, I mean, they can help us out twice. I never thought I'd be, pulling for Oregon State like I'm going to be. And then there's one more game, Oregon at Arizona State. Look, Arizona State is not a great team, but they had Washington on the ropes. And a few years ago, a very good Oregon team went into Arizona State and lost 17-7 behind Jaden Rashada, I believe it was. Or was that Jaden Daniels when he was a freshman?
Jaden Daniels.
That was Jaden Daniels. Right. Rashada's there now.
Right.
He was Jaden Daniels. And so those games are moderately interesting. It's not a great weekend for college football. Ironically, pro football is a lot better this weekend. But those are the games I'm keeping an eye on. Do you have any upsets in there?
I think Oregon State will beat Washington, but I'm not sure. I think Iowa State could push Texas, but I wouldn't bet on it. This one's a little bit more of a snowball's chance on the equator. But how about Maryland at home versus Michigan? Just in the sense that I think Maryland is capable. I think Maryland's a capable football team, but it's going to take Michigan playing bad and turning it over, and they have not shown any inclination to do that. So, but I do think Maryland is a capable team at home. But if I had to pick one this weekend, Luke, if I had to say, okay, well, one of those top teams is going to lose, I'd go Oregon State, Washington, just because I think a lot of Oregon State and Jonathan Smith. And if I was UCLA, who fired Chip Kelly, I would break out the Brinks truck for Jonathan Taylor, who's actually from Pasadena, his hometown.
Wow. Interesting stuff. All right. That's going to do it for this podcast. We might
Jonathan Smith. Why did I say Jonathan Taylor? Who's that?
He's the running back for the Colts. I thought it'd be a hell of a move.
Jonathan Smith. Man, that Taylor kid's multi-talented. No, Jonathan Smith at Oregon State is from Pasadena. I think he should be the hire at UCLA. Or wouldn't that be something if he's like, you know what? I kind of like it right here in Corvallis.
Or what if Jonathan Taylor was like, look, I'm busy on Sundays, but I can be there Saturday to coach. During the week, somebody else got to handle it. I got practice.
Hey, whose side gig pays 7 figures?
Well, you were talking about the side hustle of all side hustles.
Yeah.
Okay, that's going to do it. We might be back tomorrow. We don't know yet, but we might. So just hang around because we're crazy like that. We'll definitely be here after the game, after the Chattanooga game with the Nick Saban press conference and some reaction from that. And then get ready for the most stressful week. And I'm not talking about just because your uncle's coming in town. I'm talking about because of the Iron Bowl. We'll be back soon. Until then, roll tide.
Roll tide.